Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Szilvia and I am a pregnancy and postpartum trainer. Today in this video I want to talk to you about pelvic floor exercises. Now I've been sharing diastasis recti friendly and postpartum full body and postpartum workouts on my channel. I haven't been touching specifically the topic of pelvic floor, what can happen to your pelvic floor during pregnancy. I had 2 pregnancies before, and in both cases, in both times I had the pelvic floor dysfunction, prolapse. First time I had a prolapse of the uterus, second time I had a prolapse of the bladder. These are commonly called as pelvic floor dysfunction. If something is not happening in a normal way in your pelvic floor, that's a pelvic floor dysfunction. Now these dysfunctions have a lot of symptoms, such as you feel like when you, during walking or during some activities, or when you are just standing on your feet, you feel like something is coming out or dragging you down from the vagina. This heavy feeling that feel like something is bulging out. Sometimes maybe after delivery, after pregnancy, after the birth, you also feel like you are sitting on something, like something is bulging out, and that's the feeling I had. I especially had trouble after walking, especially prolonged walking, maybe not for 10 minutes, but if it was longer than, like, let's say 20 minutes, I started to feel like something is dragging out from there. Pain after sex is really uncomfortable again. After I stood up, I felt like something is coming out again and is dragging me down, and was not comfortable standing up after. Walking was the same. In some cases you can even see it bulging out from your vagina, because the pelvic floor is actually a group of muscles that is holding together your bladder, your uterus and your rectum, and is keeping them. These muscles should be tied to keeping them in place, up in their normal place. But if these muscles, the pelvic floor, is getting a little bit weak, maybe this tight place will just loosen up and they fall a little bit lower or much lower than they should be. So they should be right up here, and then due to the loose muscles they fall lower. As we discussed, the symptoms are very uncomfortable with the pain, the heaviness, this dragging down feeling mainly. But what you have to know, you do not have to live with these symptoms forever. There is a workaround. There are some exercises that you can actively do to make these symptoms go away and tighten back your pelvic floor muscles and push these organs back up. Of course, these exercises as well, just like any other exercises, when you want to achieve a goal, the goal should be, in this case, to strengthen the pelvic floor muscles and pull up back the organs to their place, the bladder, either it's the bladder or the rectum or the uterus, to get them back into their place, which is the normal state, and not this lower state and the weak pelvic floor muscles. Of course, if you want to achieve this goal, you have to do for it, and you have to consistently do these exercises. Doing them just once, let's say tomorrow, and 2 weeks later once again, is not going to cut it. You actually have to be really consistent with these exercises. I remember after my first pregnancy, when I was really scared, and actually I could see my uterus bulging out from my vagina. Yes, you heard me. I was terribly scared. That was like a stage 3 prolapse after I looked it up on the internet, and I had to make this go away on my own with no help, no any other person's help. And back then I was not even a pregnancy and postpartum trainer. I was not even specialized. I was just a complete beginner. So if back then I was a complete beginner, now not anymore, you can also definitely achieve this and heal your prolapse yourself just by listening to this video and applying the techniques for yourself in your everyday life. What I did is I did pelvic floor exercises 3 times a day. Yes, you heard me, 3 times a day, every day. I did them 3 times, once when I woke up. As soon as I woke up in my bed, I was lying down, I was doing them. Then once around lunchtime, around 12 o'clock, and then once in the evening when I went to bed. This was my schedule, and I kept myself to it every single day for at least 2 months. And after that, I really saw results. So if you want to heal yourself, you have to also keep up the consistency and do them all the time, every day, at least once, but better twice or 3 times, to make sure that you are going to see results quite fast. Now we know that we have to be consistent with the exercises, we have to do the exercises, and now we have to learn how to do the exercises properly. This is sometimes where things go wrong, because doing the exercise is not simply enough, but you have to make sure that you're doing them the right way. There is two exercise, the basic one that I'm going to show you. The best way to do it is either to sit on a chair. It's kind of a hard chair. That's probably the best way to start, or lie down on your back. These two positions, lying down your back or sitting on a hard chair, will help you better feel your pelvic floor muscles, because right after the delivery there are some ladies who cannot feel it straight away, which is completely normal because they are so weak, probably from the large belly again, that is putting pressure down there. Because imagine your belly is like right here. My belly was huge when I was pregnant, and then it was really putting a pressure on my pelvic floor. And actually, yeah, during my second pregnancy I was starting already doing exercises during the pregnancy time to work on these symptoms and make sure they will go faster away after the delivery, which was working very well. So if you are pregnant and you are starting out, it's better to start out during the pregnancy already. But if you are not pregnant anymore and you are in postpartum, it's not too late, don't worry, you can still work on it. You have to make sure that you are using all sides of the pelvic floor muscles. The exercise is going to look like tightening the muscles, so like tightening the muscles and releasing it. Tightening and releasing it. This is how I call it. So like you can also say contracting the muscles and releasing the muscles. Contracting the muscles and releasing the muscles. To doing the exercises correctly, you have to make sure you also release and relax the muscles. So not just staying in this contraction phase, in this tightening phase. The releasing and relaxing the muscles is just as important as contracting them. Because if you leave this part out and you are not learning to relax the muscles properly, and you are not doing the relaxation part, the muscle relaxation during the exercise, you might will have problem, and it might turn the other way around. You might won't be able to pee, or you will not be able to release all your urine while you are urinating, or you won't be able to the toilet, So this is also very important to learn this contraction phase of contract and relax, this group of movement of contract and relax together. So as I mentioned, there is 4 parts of your pelvic floor muscles. There's a front, which help you urinate. There is a back, which help you poop. And then on the side, there are also muscles on the side. When we are contracting the muscles, we have to contract them all 4 sides. All 4 sides of the pelvic floor muscles need to be contracted, not just the front, where you pee and it's like you are trying to stop the pee, or at the back of the pelvic floor muscle, try it is like you are trying to stop gas. On the side muscles, I would say on the 2 sides, it feels like when you contract them, it's like imagine you are trying to pick up a tissue from the ground, from the 2 sides like this. Imagine that, like your muscles would like to just pick up a tissue. And then now together, try to contract them all together, front, back and side. And then relax, and then release it. So the contraction phases is contracting front, back, side, all together. Now contract, and then relax. Another thing that you have to learn is connect it with the breathing. That's the next phase. How you connect it with the breathing. Every time, the breathing is the diaphragmatic breathing I've been preaching about for months on my YouTube channel. Is the TVA, deep core or diaphragmatic breathing. How the breathing goes. Let's just refresh our memory how the diaphragmatic breathing goes. Inhale. Let the belly expand and the rib cage expand with air. And exhale, draw the belly inwards, naturally. So how you connect it with the pelvic floor exercise is actually on the inhale, relax the pelvic floor muscles. Let everything fill with air, relax the pelvic floor muscles. On the exhale, contract, because on the exhale we are already contracting the deep core muscles. And at the same time, we are trying to contract all 4 muscles of the pelvic floor. Like inhale, and then exhale, contract everything. Deep core and pelvic floor. You feel hard? is exhale. It's hard, it's hard. And then also just like the inner pelvic floor muscles, I'm also contracting. Make sure you are not contracting the booty. If you don't want to contract the glutes, contracting the glutes would be like this. You see? This is not what we are doing. It's the inner muscles, and if you know the difference, just try to contract your glutes. You feel? That's not what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do is the inner pelvic floor muscle, try to contract it and then release it. Contract and release. Now you can lie down after I've been given a speech of explanation. Now we're going to lie down and actually try it for like 30 seconds. So inhale, let the belly fill up with air. And on the exhale, contract the pelvic floor and the deep core muscles. We can try to do this exercise on a chair as well. So this one is a hard chair. This hard chair, if it is hard, you're more likely to feel the pelvic floor muscles to contract. A hard chair is giving a structure and a firm ground basically for you to do the exercise. So again, to connect with the breathing, you have to breathe and relax the pelvic floor muscles. To relax the pelvic floor muscles, feel like you just want to open it up. Like you want to open the whole thing up. It's like just relax. Relax it. Open it up and then contract. And then again relax. Breathe in while you're relaxing it. Let the belly fill up with air. And then contract. Let the belly also draw inwards and contract those pelvic floor muscles. To feel more the contraction, try tighten your hands in a fist. Like this. That's when we contract it. So might be better to just sit tall on a chair to feel it better as well. So again, inhale. I let it go. I let it go on the inhale, and then exhale. I tighten it back up and I contract. Inhale, I let it go, I let it go, and then exhale, tightening back up and contract. Now, thank you for watching me today. So this is the exercise I wanted to show you today. Next time maybe we can do another exercise together and do more specific exercises, but I feel like this video is tend to be a little bit long already, longer than I expected. So this is the first movement and what you have to learn. Simply just the contraction of the pelvic floor and the release, contraction and release, contraction and release, and then connect the contraction release with the breathing as well. So you release and relax when you breathe in, and then you contract when you exhale. You release and relax when you breathe in, when you inhale, and on the exhale you contract. So if you have a pelvic floor dysfunction, you're after pregnancy or during pregnancy and experiencing these pelvic floor symptoms, I want you to start out with this contraction release exercises first, 3 times in one day for a period of 1-2 months, and see if you are seeing results, see if your complaints are getting lighter, if your symptoms are getting better. Once you can master this release contraction technique, then you can move on to further exercises. First, you have to set the ground, right? Learn the basics. You can't just jump into a bridge with the contraction and stuff. You have to first learn how to do it and practice it until you are mastering it to the maximum. Thank you for watching me today. Please subscribe for future videos. Yay! Ciao!